Alright, we're back now. Shouldn't have any kind of problems. I don't see why we would. Um, that was really weird. I don't know what's going on with this episode today. But, okay. So you should be able to find me on my useless agent page. I don't know why not. Um, so as I was stating, the problem in Evanston is that these kids, you know, they come out in the middle of the night with baseball bats, and then they just beat the shit out of people while they're sleeping. And then uh, now another thing that happens is if they want to sexually assault someone, and let's say they find a stranger on the street that doesn't go to their school or anything like that. Now, if this is a football player, you know, a popular football player, star player that the team relies on. I don't know, whatever you call them. Um, let's say the starting quarterback sees a girl, rapes her on the street, and what happens is the woman will, run off to the local precinct, but the person that'll do the arresting will be the Northwestern police. So they use a public institution for private reasons. I think I've mentioned this before. That's got to stop, because what happens is you have conflicting reports and then they just get thrown out. I have a friend who was sexually assaulted that exact way, and her entire testimony was just thrown out. Her entire affidavit was thrown up. Diggs, how you doing? Welcome to the show, man. Make sure you subscribe so that we can throw you up on the screen. So yeah, these sick fucks over in Evanston do this shit all the time. Now, like I said, I've heard of this, and then I've witnessed it because a friend of mine, good guy, his name's Chris. He was out one night. He also was homeless at the time. Now, he also did the same thing, and he was staying out. There's an opera house that's over in Evanston near Chicago Street, the main avenue, in Evanston. Now, he was sleeping, minding his own business. These kids walked up to him and smashed him in the face with a Jack Daniels bottle, knocking out his front teeth and his bottom teeth, destroyed his orbital bone. This guy, I mean, you won't be able to tell now. It's been years, but at that time, I was so worried he wasn't going to recover from it, and he would need some sort of surgery just to get that out. But so that's why I wanted some sort of. There's got to be some sort of person looking out for these guys, and the police don't give a shit. And the Northwestern police make it a point to get rid of these kinds of stories so you don't hear about it. So if the star athlete rapes rapes a girl in the middle of the park, that star athlete's still going to play the big game tomorrow, It's fucking disgusting. And in my opinion, you should never use a private police crew and then use a public institution. So you either get one or the other. So what they should do is completely abolish Northwestern police altogether, because they're corrupt, they're fucking liars, and they're always doing whatever they can to protect the Northwestern students, whether that means from harm or from fucking justice. And that's disgusting. So That's got to end. And I've seen some Northwestern students with signs picketing saying, end Northwestern police, defund it, whatever. Yeah, it should just be abolished. If you need a police presence, you get a real police presence, or make it a law where a law where the Northwestern police cannot make a public report. They can't write a report. All they can do is divert it and transition it to a real cop. So that way this little 18-year-old piece of shit goes to jail. I have no sympathy for rapists, child molesters, pedos. I don't have any fucking remorse for those people. In my opinion, they should be castrated in the middle of the street and let us all laugh. It's the only people that are so disgusting that they've gotten away with even having their own little fucking club, and somehow the federal government allows it. It's called NAMBLA, and it's I think it's an alliance for man-boy lovers. And again, they've used this argument that pedophilia has been around since the dawn of time. Yeah, so was rape, and that's not legal. So was slavery. That's not legal. So, it fucking boils my blood when I hear this, that, these kids get away with this kind of shit. So, this comic book is just a way for me to get my own personal shit out and with these people. And that's, honestly, it's either make a damn comic book about it, write a song about it, write a fucking movie about it, or personally go out there and, take care of it myself, which I would fucking love to do. If there should be some sort of limitation on how bad you can fuck up a pedo, or actually there should be no limitation. Okay, so the laws are limited to the point where it's okay to kill a pedophile, a rapist. It should be legal. Fuck them. Who cares? These people exist to ruin other people's lives. You are never the same. Hey, Christine, welcome back. If you subscribe, unsubscribe and then resubscribe, you might show up in my little mini feed, and then I can throw you guys up here on the graphic. We have we have one Neha Singh. So let's go ahead and thank her for being up. Always gotta thank the people that support us. And so yeah, if you follow us on Twitter and you can like us on, or I'm sorry, not Twitter. If you like us on Twitch, you get a cooler graphic like Big Chingus over here, who has a pretty sweet fucking thing. All right, go away. Okay. I knocked over my own shit. Alright, so back to killing pedophiles. That should totally be legal. So yeah, it was just this was just my way of writing out my own frustrations towards this issue that seems to be a non-issue with the actual local governments. The local police don't seem to give a shit about it. I brought it up at meetings. I've gone to their town meetings at the Civic Center in Evanston. And I've tried to bring this up about the privatizing of public institutionary records. And you can't do that. They basically told me I had no evidence of this happening. And it's just bullshit, because that's what they're doing. The Northwestern police are protecting their star athletes, their rapists, their fucking woman abusers, and they protect them so that way they can keep their next game safe. Who gives a shit about football when you just fucking rape someone? Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter anymore. You're not an athlete anymore. You're a fucking rapist. That's all you are. So, yeah. There's a lot of people. Christine says if they're caught in the act, fuck them. It's if it's hearsay, then go to trial. See, that's the problem with hearsay, because a lot of times you have more than enough evidence, and it'll still be considered hearsay. So, a lot of my writings tend to be very dark, and I keep it that way because it's all I know. It's all I've seen, and honestly, we're living in a time right now where just it seems like everything's just getting worse. There's always progress, and we should always look back and look at the progress. But then there's always regression, and it's just sad. Moving on to the topic of the actual caption here. I kind of went off on my own thing. I'm sorry, I get very passionate about that. I come from a family of nothing but women. Christine here in the box right there is actually the best friend I've had in years. So yeah, I was raised by my mom and sisters. Most of my best friends tend to be women. So I have no sympathy for somebody that tears down another person's life. I just have no sympathy for them. And it's hard for me to have sympathy for anybody that does something so egregious and so inhumane. They tried, like, the members of NAMBLA that try to say that pedophilia is a normal human trait. I don't agree with you. It's not a normal human trait. It was simply accepted because people were fucking disgusting back then. And, I mean, just look at the Dark Ages and, make some sense of that. It was just a bunch of people being fucking over retarded because of, religion. And, whenever you try to tell me that religion never hurt anybody, more people die in the name of a god than anywhere else, okay? So don't give me that shit. Religion kills, okay? It doesn't save. It kills more than it saves. I'm not going to say it doesn't save, because it does save certain people. But, I'm sorry, in most cases, it's just... there's just so much illegal shit going on with churches, and it's not money or it's not only embezzling and racketeering, but sexual assault and pedophilia and all that. And there should be no trial for it. If you are caught in the act, no trial, no nothing. You are no longer a human being to us. So why should you get treated like one? All right. So, excuse me. I'm sorry. My throat is really bad today. So, as I was saying, the topic that was supposed to be the topic was about Disney and how Disney sucks. And it's not just because they haven't had an original idea in 30 years, but it's the whole wokeness is just getting really ridiculous. Like, I don't care if you want to cast I don't know, if you want to cast like a black Annie, that's totally awesome. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. But I do have some issues when you take something like, I heard they're now going to be doing Snow White. And so, I'm sorry, just it's okay to put new characters into things, but in my opinion, when they're culturally appropriate and historically accurate. Okay, so you have to remember that Snow White is supposed to take place in 16th century Germany. Where the fuck are you gonna find a black woman named Snow White in 16th century Germany? Okay, not gonna happen. Um, if you they did that with Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Again, if it was today, that's fine. But when it takes place in 18th century France, I don't see it. It doesn't make sense. Sleeping Beauty, all that shit, Cinderella, all these stories came from the 1400s through the 1600s. Even Little Mermaid was supposed to be in the year 1650, I think. But my point is, Little Mermaid's the only time where it actually makes sense, because, it doesn't at one point. I love my black friends, and I've never once been told by one of my black friends, "Hey, let's go swimming." I'm sorry, most black people don't like swimming. But if you're going to, excuse me, if you're going to do this as a underworld, a whole world underwater, then it's fine, because even though it's taking place in 1650, it doesn't, there's no time underwater. Who gives a shit? So, in the Little Mermaid case, when people flipped out because it was a black girl, that I thought was stupid. Because, you got a fictional character in a fictional story with a fictional world building. That makes sense. And it's not like Christine here is saying, they're ignoring the German aspect. Exactly. The whole point of Snow White is because she was the fairest of them all, and her skin was as white as snow. So that bothers me, and it's not because black or white. It's just because in that timeline, it wouldn't make fucking sense. So if you're gonna do you're never gonna do Sleeping Beauty, because how are you gonna do Sleeping Beauty if you hate men so much? Because they don't ever want to do the Prince Charming kissing the female, the princess, and then wakes up. Fine, it's an antiquated notion, but you're fucking doing a movie that built that antiquated notion, so at least stick with it. And then you have so you have Snow White, which is, it takes place in fucking Germany of all places. And so if you're going to do this, change the timeline. That's all you have to do. Change the timeline, change the location. I'm sorry, I watched last night, my mother was watching the live Broadway performance of Beauty and the Beast, and so it was using a black, not all black cast, but Belle was black and Gaston was black, and again, it was just like, wait, what year is this supposed to be? And then like I said, this would totally have worked out if you just changed the goddamn timeline, instead of it being like, because I didn't even like the one with the live action Disney film of Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was terrible. It somehow was longer and yet explained way less than the cartoon did. When you watch Beauty and the Beast, they do things with their faces. They express fear and emotion through their faces, and that's how artists do it. But in this case, you got this fucking bland fucking actress that couldn't act her way out of a nutsack. And she has no fucking... Of course she has no French accent. Why would she have a French accent? She's only in France, for God's sakes. So... Yeah. I mean, doesn't that just make sense? Let's just change the timeline. Instead of saying, this is going to be in 1600 or, 16th century France or Germany. How about we just do this is the 20th century? At least do it to where it's the 80s or something. Something a little bit more recent so it would make more sense. Because it's really... I never thought you'd do that to Snow White. And I'm not saying doing it to her like as if, oh my God, she's going to lose all the respect in the world because you made a black version of her. I'm just saying that it's just stupid. And it's just as stupid as the live action fucking Pinocchio and Aladdin. These movies are terrible. And in 91 to like 95... our generation was given some of the best goddamn cartoons we'd ever seen. You have to remember that fucking... I think Pinocchio was made in the goddamn 40s. And even their 40s storytelling made more sense in the movie. Because if you watch Pinocchio, the new one with Tom Hanks, you'll notice that he immediately... Alright, Geppetto is played by Tom Hanks. Alright, so if you're gonna get all fucking angry, then we should be angry about Tom Hanks playing one of us. Because, Italians don't have names like Tom Hanks. And so, alright, so Geppetto was just, I love Tom Hanks, but I don't like, how everyone does this Mario Kart version of fucking Italians. We don't sound like that. And in this live action remake, Pinocchio is entirely computer animated. And that's another thing. It's like you want to do live action films, then do a fucking live action film. Stop relying so much on CGI. Because I thought the whole point of it was to make it look more real. Well, then get the goddamn computer effects off and start using practical effects again. And so Pinocchio is entirely computer animated. He looks cute, I guess. What's it called? Geppetto has these, we all know him as a clock builder and a handyman. So they do the clock scene. But what's so fucking pathetic is that every clock is from another fucking Disney movie. So I used to love that scene where you get to see the one clock where it's like a cuckoo clock, but instead it's a woman spanking her baby on the bare ass. Does anyone remember that? That was fucking hilarious. And back then it was just cute. It's just the baby being spanked, and that's your fucking alarm. So, the clocks in the original picture were just fucking funny. And I believe there was also a drunk that was always drinking. He'd come out and drink every time. And so in this one, it's just another... They even threw in Toy Story for some goddamn reason. How does that make any fucking sense? I don't know. So Tom Hanks had lost a child and doesn't ask questions about how Pinocchio is just suddenly alive, and literally ships him off to school. If you just lost a child... if you just lost a child, a few years ago, and you now have a second chance, wouldn't you at least walk that kid to school? How the fuck is he supposed to even know where the school is? It's not like Finding Nemo where he just gets on a fish and it takes him to school. There's no school bus. So how the hell does he even know where he's going? And the CGI is just fucking just ridiculous because then you had what's it called the fox. I think his name was Honest something or Mr. Honest or something like that. The whole joke was that the fox had the name Honesty in his name, knowing that he was a lying fucking traitor. So for some reason, Geppetto has his normal black cat, and of course we can't use a real fucking cat, so they have that CGI. We have cats. I got a cat that I can go out in the alley and pull you out a cat in like 5 minutes, and you're telling me you can't fucking just show a cat? You really need to put millions of dollars worth of CGI to have a fucking cat? It's just crazy. A Brock Turner type, yeah. So, he just sends this goddamn kid off to God knows where. You know, so as he's shipping himself off and shimmying off, he stares at a lump of dog shit. And that's so fucking funny. And like I said, that scene with the clocks and the one with the baby the baby being spanked at, every hour the lady spanks her baby. That shit was hilarious. How the hell does Toy Story fit into the clocks? Alright? And now we've already seen that he has his own cat, So why is there a fox and another cat over there hiding in a corner watching Pinocchio stare at dog shit? So you're telling me that it's amazing that a puppet's alive, but animals talking and wearing clothes, that's normal? I don't get it. I really don't fucking get it. And so somehow that's more interesting. I don't know. I think I'd be more interested in the fucking fox that knows how to fucking rip you off. I mean, that seems more interesting. But anyway, they have Jiminy Cricket. I don't know who plays him. I never even heard his. I don't, care. But the thing about Jiminy Cricket is Jiminy Cricket was meant to be his conscience. Now, when the angel comes down and the fairy godmother and brings Pinocchio to life, they used a black woman for this. Doesn't matter at all. That didn't, that's fine. I don't care. And so she looks over at Jiminy Cricket and tells her, you're going to be his conscience. But the whole movie, the kid already knows right from wrong. Where did he learn that state of consciousness? And if you already have that mentality and you know the difference between right and wrong, what the fuck do you need Jiminy Cricket for? Jiminy Cricket was there to watch over him and, correct his mistakes before they happen. And, of course, I was wondering what they were going to do to the jackass scene where they all turn into jackasses and they all, they all drinking beer and smoking cigars. You couldn't have fucking put CGI cigars in their mouth. That's what the cartoon was. And so, of course, they can't show you that shit. So, instead, they have giant things of root beer. So, how is what they're doing wrong? I don't know. And for some reason, they're all breaking clocks. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't want to get it, and I don't mind that I don't get it. Alright? So, Disney sucks. Alright? That's my time. Thank you guys for being with me. Love you, Christine. Diggs, appreciate it. Thanks for signing up. I really hope you can follow us on Twitch, so that way we can put you up in the graphics. Christine, please get a Twitch account. Do the same thing. that's about it. All right. So remember, we love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbors. And, yep, don't forget to hit us up at uselessagentmusic@gmail.com. Love you. And as always, I will see you on the other side.
Useless Agent is on your TV or laptop or your PC, whatever you